Your Families, where we talk about 6 areas of health for families: emotional, financial, mental, physical, social, and spiritual. My guest today is Katie Fasciano. She is a holistic practitioner and author of the book, Never Give Up Hope, The Little Girl Who Changed the World. I am excited to hear about this book. Katie, welcome.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you so much for having me.
And I've talked to you before. I have tried Seimei healing. I know it works. I had the opportunity to try that. And I'd love to hear your story about how you became a holistic practitioner.
Absolutely. And actually that's a perfect entryway into the book, because part of me wanting to tell the world about my daughter and her journey, part of that journey was me changing from a CPA to a holistic practitioner.
That's quite a
So
change.
yes, it was a huge change. And for me, it fits so much better to be a holistic practitioner. It really resonates in a bigger way with me. But it all began from my eldest daughter, who was battling cancer. She battled 3 different battles with cancer. And I was always doing traditional medicine. But when that third battle came along with the stage 4 brain tumor, I had this thought, there must be something more that could be done. Still doing traditional medicine, but what else could we do to complement it? In the past, family members had brought to me like different supplements and things to try with Elizabeth. But every time we would go to the doctor, and the doctor would say, no, it might conflict with her treatments. Don't use it. So we would not use any of it. On this third battle, thankfully, a friend of mine was doing a lot of holistic things for her disabled son. And when I asked her, "What are you doing now?" She said, "Oh, I do this thing called Seimei. It's really helping her son." And she said, "Come tonight. We have an open night for the public." So off I went. I went with myself, my eldest daughter, and also my 2 younger daughters. And I walked into that space that first day, and gosh, I just felt this like inner knowing that I was home. I felt enveloped in love in the room. It definitely caught my attention. I was very numbed out in that moment after 5 years of going through the treatments with my daughter, and just up many nights, staying in the hospital many nights, just seeing things that, a parent shouldn't ever have to see a child go through. And for me to walk into that space that first time, to have this knowing about me, I was floored, because I wasn't getting these kind of intuitive feelings or gut feelings, because I was just kind of numb from all that I had already gone through with her for the past 5 years. And they had her sit down in a chair, and they said, "Okay, Elizabeth, we're going to help you." I saw shifts and changes in her that given day, but it was a few weeks later when they said, "Okay, today we're going to help her to walk and run better." I said, "That sounds wonderful." Like, this happened when she was 13 months old, and she was just a new walker. And the first battle and the first craniotomy had set her back quite a bit. She was paralyzed on half her body. There was a lot of rehab that was needed in that time. Thankfully, she did get to be walking again, and a bit, like running, but it was never fluid. So when the same practitioner said to me, "Oh, we could help Elizabeth with this," I said, "Sure, please." And she sat in that chair. They did what seemed like magic. I hadn't, I was just a person going as a guest at that point. And so many minutes or half hour later, they said, "Elizabeth, get up and go run around the room." And I choked up with tears of joy. She had never walked or run better in her entire life. So that was like, wow, like to visually see a night and day difference something I'd never seen my daughter able to be capable of such a fluid, wonderful, free kind of running around the room. So I said, okay, how do I learn this? How quick can I learn this? And within 2 months, I was signed up and taking the classes. And it made such a huge difference in Elizabeth's life and has continued to make such a wonderful, amazing difference in my life and in others around me as well, and my clients. It's been 11 years now that since I've learned this technique.
How wonderful. And seeing a dramatic change like that for your child, which is what you wanted. And this was her fourth round with cancer?
Third round
Her
of
third
cancer,
round.
yes. Yes.
Oh, what a resilient little girl.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And so wise beyond her years. She was my hero and continues to be inspirational to me as I reflect back and gosh, I took on this book about 2 years ago was when I got started with the beginnings of trying to draw out the story from me. It's a story that's part of me. It's part of my makeup now. But to put it into words was not easy. And it was a very cathartic process writing this book. I encourage anyone and everyone to write, something near and dear to you or your soul, your heart. It completely continued and brought out additional healing for myself by putting this to word, to putting it in a book. I'm so grateful that it is now there. Not now, it's not just for those today, but I mean, it's here to stay. Like it's written, it's memorialized, and it's again not something that I only intended for family and future family in my world, but rather I want this to be across America and across the world. I want people to be able to benefit from what the struggles Elizabeth had to go through, but also the light times and the joyful times that I speak about in the book. And for that gift of finding Seimei in that third battle.
So it's about your daughter, but also are you talking about Seimei, this process that you learned? That I love the title, Never Give Up Hope.
Thank you. Yes. Most of the book is Elizabeth's story. And still, Seimei is part of her story. So I would say 100% of the book is her story. But maybe 5-10% of it is towards the end on that third battle where I found Seimei. And I give a few examples of things that Seimei helped with in her journey, and truly incredible for the help that it gave us emotionally and physically for her, and not just for her, but also for me. Because as I helped her, the beautiful way of this work is as I help her or others, I'm also helping myself every single time. It's a win-win because I was a mother of young children. Both she was 6 when I found it, and then I had a 3-year-old and a 7-month-old when I found it. So life was very hectic. I didn't do a great job with remembering about fill myself up first so I'm better for my children. It was more, nope, children, what do they need? Where do we need to go? Let's do this. Wait, and I I definitely encourage people to do a better job on self-care, but I'm learning. I'm learning to do a better job with self-care now because now my girls are growing up, they're getting older, and it's important that I am filling myself up first so that I can be a better, more patient mom to them as well.
This is a lesson every mother needs to hear. It is so natural. Of course, we give for our children, of course. But the airlines have a point. You have to put your own oxygen mask on first. I love the way
Yes.
you learned it. And I love how, and I have heard that writing about your trial helps with the healing. It helped heal you
Yes.
but you have also written something that will help other parents. You know, having a child with a serious illness is heart wrenching,
Mhm.
and
Yes.
it can become a wedge between husband and wife. It can really break up a family if we let it. But I love this
Mhm.
powerful message of take care of
Yeah.
yourself.
Yes.
And then I love the way you kept looking, you kept thinking there must be something else.
Yes.
And you
Yes.
found it.
Thankfully, I did. I absolutely found it. And with Elizabeth and her cancer battles, not only was it treatment, but because of the different treatments, it interfered. As I said, like she wasn't having a fluid walk, and then say may help with that. There was also some hearing impediments from some autotoxic chemotherapy she had. So that was challenging. And once you have compromised hearing, it can also compromise the ability for you to hear how to speak certain letters, certain, like her high pitched hearing was gone in both ears. One, and her other ear was legally deaf from we don't know if it was the trauma of the surgeries or of the actual brain tumor itself that was underlying it. But
But
either way,
but to be able,
we had these challenges moving forward that Seimei just allowed such grace in the journey. It allowed a way to manage, because whether it's a child that has a life-threatening illness and many side effects from that, or if it's as my other children, thankfully, haven't been challenged in the way that Elizabeth was, there's still the need on physical and emotional state for help. And any and all parents could use to have Seimei and other tools in your life for that self-care and also for the care of those around you.
well, I was thinking as you spoke, I was thinking of what it would do to a mom's heart, to see her child find some relief, even if it was just from one symptom, to see them doing better, feeling better. And then you mentioned, so it sounds like you've been using this not just for your daughter's chronic illness, but you've been using this for your family and others, and you still offer this service, correct?
I do. And the service can be offered both in person and from a distance. And that came in as a super effective to have it be offered from a distance when COVID got so bad a few years back. No one was going anywhere. And certainly if someone was affected by COVID, they weren't going to be able to come to a holistic practitioner like me. But thankfully, this work can be done remotely, over the phone, over a video call, you name it, it can be done. And it was so helpful during the hardest year or two of COVID. I was able to use Seimei to help people that were affected with COVID to process through, whether it was the actual virus they got. Some of my clients had some really tough side effects from the vaccinations that the CMA was able to help unwind for them. Um, and as well as some clients have come to me for long-term COVID issues that are there with and have received relief from that.
And being able to offer this remotely means that you can cover a much brighter area. You're not limited to the people who live close enough to drive to where you are.
Right. Right. COVID actually brought me from being, I was really in the tri-state area of, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, area where people could physically get to me within, a given time, a reasonable amount of time. Now with COVID and working more and more in a remote setting, like a long distance setting with people, I went from that smaller area to across the country and also across the world. I work with people early in the morning and late at night when I'm working on the other side of the world, because there's only so many hours that work out when you're kind of in the opposite time zone.
That's true. That's true. Now, what can you tell us about Seimei, the process
Uh,
itself?
well, Seimei is a Japanese technique. It's a newer technique. It's been around for 40, 50 years now. Our founder, he's still living in Saga, is the prefecture in Japan that he lives in. So he's still involved in Seimei. He used to be the head person. Now he's handed it off to the next generation, but he's still involved. I mean, this has been his baby from the start, and so he makes sure to monitor and see what's going on, and put his wisdom, his little tokens of wisdom within our organization, thankfully, still through today. And it's a technique that anyone can learn. I mean, I was a tax accountant. I was very black and white thinking. You know, I
Very
wouldn't say
factual.
I was seeking anything like this out, but it found me through that friend that told me, thankfully, because I did want to find something. It was, gosh, 5 years have gone by of hard times and easier times, not just hard times, but there were two different battles already in those first 5 years, and then two different remissions. So the tougher times and then the more gentler times. And here, when the cancer rose again that third time was when, I said, I got to find something. And I found the Seimei. Thankfully,
It's a it's
thankfully
a
I
it's
did.
a form of energy healing. Would
We
that
don't
be
call it
accurate?
energy. We don't call it energy.
Okay.
Seimei is a Japanese word, and it means vital force. So it's the body's life force, which our founder differentiates from energy.
All right. So you're using the body's life force. So working with the client using, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, it takes myself and that other person,
Okay.
because there's yes, it's a lot of it is hard to put into words.
Okay.
It's best, honestly, for someone to reach out to me, and right over the phone, I can give them an example of this within minutes,
Just like you did
and they
for
could see
me.
it. Right, right, that they could feel it themselves. And
So
I
the,
always encourage that, because even people will say, "Oh, is it like this? Is it like that?" And I say, "Well, the best thing is, how about you try?" I don't, like, I love to offer it. I'd love to show it. Try just a few minutes, try and make your own opinion about it. Don't like, my words are just words.
yeah.
Experience, like, this is due to know, as our founder says. So do it, try it, and then, see if it's something that you feel a change with, if you're, inspired to find out more.
So if they want to experience it, now I know you have a website,
Yes,
saymeihealing.com,
correct.
and they can contact you there. You're also on LinkedIn,
Yes, yes.
Facebook.
LinkedIn and on Facebook and on Instagram. So I do cover most forums, and now more recently even on TikTok. So you
Okay.
can find me a lot of different ways. My TikTok, all my small little videos are all a bit of things about Elizabeth. It's I only started a couple months ago. It was right when my book was, publishing to the world, and I thought, gosh, this would be a way to give little additional trinkets about Elizabeth to complement the story that you could read. My story is also, the book is available through Amazon, and if you go to Seimei Healing's website, you can have a direct link to Amazon to find it.
So do the website. So they can read the book to learn Elizabeth's story, your story. This would be of comfort for parents who have a child with a chronic, or just parents. That would be of benefit to them. But to learn more about Seimei, they really need to contact you and experience it.
That is the best way, an experience of Seimei. And I absolutely invite people to reach out to me. There's also a foundation for Seimei, and that is another way to reach out and to receive a demonstration of Seimei, to experience the work and see how it does for that given person's physical or emotional situation that they're dealing with in that given moment.
So it's emotional as well as physical healing, correct?
Yes. Yes.
And the best way for them to contact you would be through your website, seimeihealing.com. And Seimei is spelled Seimei.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And I can tell how passionately you feel about this and how grateful you are that you found it. And
I am so grateful, and I so can't wait for more and more people to read the book, because I've already heard, like, to your point, to a parent, whether it's through a chronic illness or not, a parent I'm thinking of right now had reached out to me saying, I read this book, and she's like, you can't even imagine how much this book helped me. Now, her son never dealt with cancer, but he has other medical issues, and the relevance to knowing that a parent isn't on this journey alone. There are things that come up, whether if it's a chronic illness for life, or if that child, God forbid, has a broken bone. It's scary to have to go to a hospital, potentially have that child stay overnight in a hospital. All those steps are just really tough on a parent and on our emotions emotionally, to have to see a child in pain, whether it's a physical or an emotional pain. It aches the parent, I feel, just the same or maybe even worse when our child's in pain. So it's
Definitely
a beautiful thing to have this tool. I'm forever grateful to have this tool, for myself and for those around me, both my clients and my friends and family that I use it with.
It's blessed your entire family.
It's been so helpful in so many facets of ways. I chose to just give a few demonstrations of or testimonials in the book specific to Elizabeth, because this truly is my tribute to Elizabeth. That's the purpose here, is to tell her story. She was an absolute inspiration to our world, a light, a beacon of hope. And I know that this story is going to continue to allow more and more people to be inspired by her resilience, her strength, her love, her light.
I think there's also something to be said about your willingness to think outside the box. I think a powerful message is there that we don't have to stick with traditional. Let's look for other alternatives, especially as parents. Let's not give up the search to find what will help our children.
Right. And it can be, it's to everyone's level of what they feel is appropriate. I mean, for me personally, I was always of the traditional route, and I still wanted to stay traditional route with that third battle. it just was, there's got to be something more. And how beautiful when I got to marry together the East and the West thinking on medicine. It really helped, and just it just like the emotional side is helped in traditional medicine, but not every step of the way. I feel like there are certain areas where the emotional toll of some of the news you hear, some of the bumps you go through, could use a little bit more support. And the CMA absolutely can help with those bumps in the road, and different phases, even in a child's maturity, as they're going through their different phases. There's a lot to manage as a parent, and a lot to learn. I'm still learning. I'm still on this journey.
Well,
But I do
even
have this beautiful tool to support and to help in that journey.
so, you used your mom intuition, that guidance, that inspiration to keep looking till you found something. I love the way you're sharing it.
Thank you.
And
Yes,
that
I'm
you wrote
I'm
a
so
book about
excited.
it.
Yes, and inside the book there's so many pictures also. Uh Different pictures. There's her coming out of
Elizabeth,
preschool, and that's Elizabeth, and she would always just run and jump into your arms, open arms, like, oh, let me just shower you with my love. That's just almost too much for her body to contain. She was always just sharing that beautiful love to others.
oh,
There's many pictures. This is the soft cover. If people were to wanting the color pictures inside, that would be the hardcover book. So both are
both are
available, and
available.
even on a digital way, it's available. um it's
Um,
it's a Kindle copy, but it can be viewed on any computer. You don't need to have a Kindle.
okay, available on Amazon, but the best way is to go to your website, saymayhealing.com. They
Yes.
can connect with you there. They can order the book.
Yes, and they
And
can reach out and experience a demonstration of Seimei. I'd be more than pleased to show what this work is like, both with adults and children alike, however would be best for that family unit and who needs it the most. And maybe it's all the family. I don't mind. I'd be, delighted to help and demonstrate Seimei for each and every member if they would like that.
in the best of circumstances, in the ideal world, it's still a challenge, as you mentioned. Raising children, having a family, there are always challenges in a so to have something that how did you say it? It helps smooth out the bumps.
Yes,
I Yeah,
yes,
having
yes.
that
It
for
it
your
really, like an example, and this is, again, with my daughter that's was in the middle of so much stuff. She was getting spinal taps along the way for those first 5 years before I found Seimei. And then as I started learning Seimei, she had another spinal tap. Any of the prior spinal taps she was in pain from those other, for those prior 5 years. When she experienced a spinal tap after I had learned Seimei, they put she was a young child, and they put her under to do the spinal tap. And she came back into the room, and I was a new student of Seimei, but thankfully, new or 11 years in like myself, you can be effective with Seimei. And as a new student, I put my hands around her. I don't ever touch. I put my hands around her. She was still sleeping from the anesthesia. And then I was done, and she was waking up, and she didn't complain about pain. And the next day, she was coming downstairs from upstairs after sleeping, and her little 3-year-old sister, you're curious at 3. The 3-year-old said to the 6-year-old sister, she pointed at her and she said, "Elizabeth, why do you have a Band-Aid on your back? Elizabeth goes, I don't know. And that Band-Aid on her back was covering the puncture from the spinal tap. She didn't even realize she had a puncture there. There was no pain. And, like you said, like every single ache and pain that our children go through affect the parent. To have to have that knowledge that she had pain all those other times, and now when I had CMA and I was able to do the CMA right after she had that procedure, she had no pain. She had even, because she was asleep, she didn't even realize it happened. So what a blessing to have. I think I speak with that and other stories in the book, but it's again like, why not? Why have a child suffer if you have a tool within your own hands? This is work that anyone can learn, not just, you don't have to be favoring, alternative holistic kind of ways to learn this. I was a CPA and thinking very black and white, and still, my daughter was going through a lot of stuff, and it shifted my perspective and my willingness to do whatever I had to do whenever I had to do it for her, to keep her the most comfortable possible and in the best, the best quality of life that she could have.
You saw it helped your child, and that's all you needed.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And you were motivated.
Absolutely.
Oh,
I was blown away. I was blown away by the before and after. Was like, wow.
yes.
Wow.
Oh, Katie, thank you so much for sharing this story, sharing your book. We can get it by going directly to Amazon. We should search under your name. It'd probably be easier to find with Katie
Yes, probably that would be
Fasciano.
the easiest way, Katie Fasciano.
Or even
And
better, going to your website, reaching out to you, connecting with you, and a direct link in your website.
to get to the book as well there.
And
So
learn.
you've got two great ways to do it, whether going through Amazon with my name or with Never Give Up Hope. But the subtitle, you would also need to type The Little Girl Who Changed the World. And also the option to look up under my name. So those are all avenues for people to find me, both on Amazon and through my Say My Healing website.
And you're willing to help anyone interested experience it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sharing
I
this.
I want more and more people to know about this work. It helped my daughter so tremendously. I want other parents to have this tool so that they can also help their children and their loved ones, because you just don't ever know. I hope no one ever has to suffer anything ever again. That would be my wish for the world.
But that's
But
not
it
how
may
life
not happen
is.
that way. And just in case it doesn't, wouldn't it be great to have something like this tool in your back pocket to know about, and maybe even potentially learn for yourself, so that you have it always and available to you and to your loved ones?
For sure. For sure. Thank you so much for joining us. And for my viewers, thank you. Come back next week at the same time. Let's make the world a better place by strengthening families. This is Emmylou Penrod at healingyourfamilies.com.